Unsyndicated presents Off the Air with Sean Baligian.
What is up? Saturday, early February, and I'm telling you what, I'm going to get this out of the way right now, and I know there are a few people out there that can agree with me, including my partner, Blake, of course, from 760 WJR, the Mitch Album Show, and Sports Rap. Blake, I know that you can feel this. I know you can. I haven't even talked to you about this, and I know you can feel this. So I woke up today around 9 o'clock, and we are creatures of habit, right? We're all creatures of habit.
100%.
So the first thing that I did was immediately head to the TV to instinctively turn on ESPN so I can just have game day on in the background. True story. And, you know, I didn't get a good sleep. I had a busy day on that later. Whatever. Okay. We'll get into that later. But it was like, I just sat there and I went, oh.
In college basketball, college game day does not hit the same whatsoever. No. It's not the same vibe.
No.
It's good. Like, they do a good job and it's cool because it's like in the arena, whatever, but it's not the same.
Like, it's February 3rd and I found myself longing for college football. I mean, the season just ended a few damn weeks ago. And like, so then I just sat there like waxing poetically to myself, which there's nothing better than waxing poetically to yourself. And I was like, how great would it be if like at noon you got Iowa and Illinois on? I know I don't want to watch Iowa's offense and Illinois is Illinois. And then you turn on ESPN and Blake, you know as well as I, there's always like that useless ACC game. Like, Virginia is taking on NC State, you know, but it's there. It's you know, there's always a game on the big network. There's always a game on ESPN2, ESPN Channel 7. I missed it something fierce this morning. And there's a problem with guys like you and I because the season just ended a few weeks ago.
Yeah, I haven't hit that wall yet, but I've 100% hit that wall, and it'll probably come because for me, this is the time of year I get like super into college basketball and March Madness. I'll start like tonight, Duke, North Carolina. I will watch 100%. I always watch Duke, North Carolina for whatever reason. I enjoy it. I'll start really getting into college basketball. I'll get into some hockey. I'll watch some more hockey, learn some things from my good friend Sean Baligian about hockey. But for me, I get hit hard with it right after college basketball ends.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what do I do now? Because I'm not a baseball guy nearly as much as you are. So that just
I only am because of my son. I openly admit it. Baseball was just there for me my whole life. For whatever reason, Jack just loves baseball, and it made me a bigger fan than I could ever imagine. I don't blame him. Sounds like a derogatory term. It isn't. I mean, it's like, wow, I missed out on all these years, but the only reason is because of my kid. Seriously, I openly admit it.
Yeah. Well, for me, it's like that's when I'm like, oh man, I really need something in my life. But can I give you something to look forward to?
Yes, you can.
There's like 2 week zeros this year.
I know.
Because September has an extra week.
I know. Isn't it great?
It's so most teams have 2 byes in college football this year.
I love every second of it.
It's fantastic. I'm so
Greg said, bring on March Madness. That's when I watch it. Greg, in recent years, I have turned into that guy. I used to be the guy like you described, Blake, yourself to be. I'm already, okay, I'm wading in the water, and I know all the college basketball elite hate guys like us. Where have you been? The season started in November. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm going to turn on the Spartans when they're on. My guy coaches. Oh, you know how that works, all that, okay? But like when I really go in, like when I go in like up to my waist, Greg, you know the college basketball elite hate guys like you and I like Blake, I'm not turning it on. You know, there's too much hockey for me to watch. When I really get in is kind of championship weekend. And openly admit it, I know the college basketball elite hate guys like me, but I'm with Greg who chimed in on the chat. That's when I jump in, like totally jump in. It doesn't count. Like for you watching Michigan, it doesn't count. For me watching Michigan State, we're going to do that anyway. I mean, they could be playing hopscotch and, hey, Michigan State's on television. You'd say Michigan's on television. But that doesn't count if you're just chiming in. I don't really jump in until like championship weekend and literally the day that the tournament's announced. I just don't. That's
I'll like
on my plate now. I really do.
I agree with what Nick said here. Does Michigan still have a basketball program? Yeah, no, not really. Thanks, Juwan. I don't want to start with this.
Yeah. Pete said, Sean, remember when the Maui Invitational was that week of Thanksgiving break and you could stay up late without consequence?
Feast week is
it's
the
fun.
Best. And
the funny thing about that is I think it was my son's freshman year at DePaul. It was either his freshman year or his sophomore year. They had a game against Michigan State like at 11:30 at night. And I was like, let's stay up and watch it. Because DePaul, Blake, many years before you were born, DePaul was actually like a powerhouse.
Yeah.
Ray Meyer was like a legend and everything. And I was like, let's see what they got. And it took me about 10 minutes to figure out that it was garbage. It was like, do I really want to stay up and watch this? And yes, it's Michigan State, but this is just one of those games that, okay, wow, hooray, woo. But I can't do that anymore. I've turned into that guy with the Stanley Cup playoffs. I think people remember when I was doing the radio show, I dragged myself in at 9 a.m. and I was a mess, Blake, because I stayed up late. I can't do it that much anymore. I have to pick and choose when it happens because, when you have the 10:30 starts day after day after day, I have to kind of pick and choose when I do it. It's not like college football where nerds like you and I are going to be up texting each other at like 1 o'clock in the morning. And that happens. Trust me. Blake and I do that. What did Lomas call it? He
Blake
called it
from State Farm.
Blake from State Farm. Because, my wife walks in the room. She goes, you're still up? And I'm like, yeah, college football's on. Who are you talking to? It's just Blake from State Farm. It's like that commercial. But but hockey's different. I can't do it every night come the springtime. I really can't. I'll do it 2-3 times a week. The weekends are a lot better, but I can't do it every night.
What I've been meaning to ask you this off the air, but now that we're on off the air, this is a good time to ask. What are like and I know we're going off here, but what are like the 5 teams that I need to watch in hockey this year? Who are the teams that I should be paying attention to? Who are fun to watch? All that stuff.
Okay, obviously Edmonton has to go to the top of the list. What they're doing right now, you never know what you're going to get. They're going to win 16 in a row. They're going to lose 15 out of 16. That's just kind of been their MO for a while. But obviously, you're talking about arguably the best player in the game in McDavid. So you start there. I think Colorado is a very, very fun team to watch. Nathan McKinnon is just electric, arguably the best player in the game. Vancouver is a great story, no doubt about that. I really enjoy watching the Florida Panthers. Mike and I were talking about that the other night, and for some reason, I think Florida's kind of flying under the radar, and they have no business flying under the radar because they're the defending Eastern Conference champions. But I think everybody's kind of busy talking about those other teams that I mentioned. I love watching Florida play, and I think as they get healthy, they might be my favorite in the East. And I say that with a tip of the cap, begrudgingly, to my hated Boston Bruins. But yeah, those are some things to keep an eye on. Nick said the Maple Leafs for pure comedic genius. absolutely right. Something Maple Leaf is going to happen. And do you know how one would describe Maple Leaf? It is snatching victory from the jaws of defeat. Or no, snatching defeat from the jaws of victory.
Yeah.
Something Leaf is going to happen. You set your watch to it, no matter how good they look. Something Maple Leaf is going to happen. That's a reason why wiseacres like me have been saying 1967 bitch forever and a day, because something Maple Leaf is going to happen. And there it is. Nick just said
it's got very SOL vibes. Does it not?
It does.
Except
it does.
for I mean, obviously
they've had a higher level in recent years than the Lions have, but the song remains the same in regard to they look good. You're like, wow, this might be the year. And then it just magically falls apart. And it's just Maple Leaf. There's no other way to say it. It's just Maple Leaf. So I agree with Nick. In that regard, the Leafs are like can't miss television. They really are. Yeah. They're can't miss television.
Is with real quick with Edmonton, is it like the same story that's been since McDavid's been in the league? Their goaltending is just an absolute liability, and they're not deep on defense.
You've seen it go like this. I mean, anytime you rip off a winning streak like they have, you have to be taken seriously. But until they show they can continue it in the playoff, it's kind of the same old song and dance. And if you remember the last couple coaching changes they made, they went on fire after they made a change, just like the previous coaching change. And there's something in the water up there. I'm sorry, I've said it for years. There's something in the water up there. They've had so much talent. I don't know why they haven't been able to bring it together. I know a lot of people want to blame Ken Holland for that. It happened long before Ken Holland got there. No other way to say that. It's happened long before Ken Holland got there. But I think they're fun to watch. They're a blast to watch. They really are. I usually, if Edmonton is the late game on CBC on Saturday night, that's what I'm checking into. That's what I'm checking into. 100%. By the way, Rich said, I am the same. March is when it matters. You know, the college basketball elite hates us. They absolutely hate us. They can't stand us. And I've always been one of the people, I don't know, because as a hockey fan first, I'm used to sand being kicked in my face. Like, to me, it's like, come on board. See what you've been missing. Like, honestly, that's always been my mentality because, Blake, if you remember, I mean, this is going back to when you were little, but a lot of the people here can relate to this. There was a whole group of snobby fans when the Wings were going through their playoff runs that would do the, oh, wake me up in the second round. Wake me up in the conference champion. That happened more times than you could shake a stick at. And I know it made a lot of the hockey elite crazy. I mean, to me, it's like, come on board. I don't care. I think what people are missing out now when you talk about the Stanley Cup playoffs, the first round of the playoffs is by far the best round of the playoffs. It is unbelievable. I have to give them credit for setting up the way they have set it up. The first round of the playoffs is, to me, the best round of the playoffs. It's unbelievable. Every night it seems there's drama. Every night it seems there's a pivotal game 6 or a deciding game 7. It is, I think the first round has become unbelievable. Really unbelievable. Here's one for you, Blake. I'm going to go to you. What are your thoughts on the Seahawks hire of McDonald?
He's an elite defensive mind.
100%. You know why I deferred to you. He's our resident Michigan fan. So, yes. Nick, I wanted him to go first.
I think he will be a successful head coach, and I think I really like the way that the NFL is doing these young coaches that are like very specific to their side of the ball, and he's got a great mind, and I think he'll be able to connect with players, and it's completely different than what Seattle had with Pete Carroll. So I think he'll be good.
You know what's interesting about that? There's got to be more to that Seattle story, right? And I mean, I get that Pete Carroll is 71 or 70, whatever the hell it is. Pete Carroll. But the guys love him. And there's something to be said for a guy that the players love and go for it. You know what I mean? And that's what makes me wonder, is there something more to that story? And the routine. We'll probably find out about it like a year from now. Honestly,
Yeah.
we'll probably find something out, but it's interesting. Let me get back to college football for just a moment, if I can.
Oh, anytime you want to go back to college football, I'm in.
This is weird. We kind of had a role reversal today, if you guys have been paying attention. I was talking football.
College football, my favorite thing in the world.
Blake went to hockey.
Yeah.
Now, how many times have you guys made fun of me? We could be talking about any topic, and somehow it gets back to the National Hockey League, the Ontario Hockey League, the USHL, the high school ranks. It was Blake that did it today. What are you thinking about this new Big Ten? Because it's still so weird. As I said, I was really jonesing for college football today. So I wasted my time like studying schedules today. And it's so weird. Like when you pull up Michigan State's schedule, and of course I'm going to go with the Spartans first. At Oregon, Saturday, October 5th. And to your point, 2 bye weeks, October 12th and November 9th. Michigan's schedule is even crazier because it's weird for a Spartan fan to say at Oregon on there as a conference game. If you remember, they had that home and home with them back in 14 and 15. But not only does Michigan have that game with Texas at the Big House, they have USC at the Big House. Conference game, I might add. At Husky Stadium, October 5th. Conference game, I might add. Oregon at home, November 2nd. Conference game, I might add. This is world turned upside down stuff. I think for guys like you and I, and especially my generation, Blake, because the be-all, end-all for so many years was getting to the Rose Bowl. It really was. That was the measuring stick and everything. I mean, Big Ten champion played the Pac champion. That's just the way it is. It is still so weird to look at these schedules and go, this isn't something that's coming down the pike in 2 years or 3 years from now. This is going to be reality in about 6.5 months time.
Yeah. And it's no more of because we are how you were talking about the college basketball elite and how they are like, oh, you only watch in March. Yeah. We're the ones we're the college football elite that are like, oh, you only watch in November. Like you can't, that's not even possible anymore because with these super leagues, the good thing about it is there's great matchups literally every single week.
Yep.
It's just nonstop. And I'm so excited to be able to watch. And with the expansion, we'll have Michigan and Michigan State games a little later at night. Hopefully they're not like 10 o'clock starts. Hopefully we can get some 9 o'clock West Coast starts. But I'm very excited. It's going to be awesome. The SEC schedule is crazy too.
Unbelievable.
Absolutely insane.
It's funny you say that. I mean, look, I was going to stay in our own backyard. People probably know this. Blake's a big Michigan fan. I think you know where my rooting interests lie. But as I was going around today, crying like a little baby because I missed college football, I looked at some of those schedules and it's like, my gosh, are you kidding me? And Blake, I remember a couple of weeks last year when you and I were working together on the radio, we were like, this weekend slate isn't that good. I don't think we're going to run into that, man. I mean, there is going to be a banger each and every week.
Yes. 100%. Yeah. It's going to be awesome. I love college football. It's the best.
Hi, Alex. Hi to my buddy Ben. Nick said, funny thing is I haven't heard anything about the Lions draft yet. Nick, it's funny. We talked about that the last time we got together. By this point in time, I had done probably close to 1,000 mock drafts, and I literally just started Monday. This is like such a weird year for me, and everything. And again, look, the board's going to change 1,000 times between now and April. Make no mistake about that. It already has, Blake, since the last time you and I were talking about, the online draft simulator. I mean, it's literally changed since then, but I could get used to this.
You know what Jim Harbaugh said though, right?
No.
Did you see the clip going around that He said JJ McCarthy is going to be the first quarterback taken off the board.
Oh yeah, I saw that. I don't think that's going to be the case.
No,
But,
and I love JJ, but there's no way.
You know, we have to break for a second. I have to tell you about our friends from Wealth Advantage. But I think that I'm going to save the thoughts. JJ McCarthy. We just stumbled upon this. Okay. I'm going to save the thoughts. Okay. First, I want to tell you about our friends at Wealth Advantage. Honestly, I can tell you definitively, they are great guys. They are friends of mine. They lived next door to me. And if you're ready to take charge of your financial further, you need to look no further than Wealth Advantage Group. They are located in historic downtown Northville, owned by two brothers, my friends, my financial advisors, with over 20 years of industry experience. They understand that your financial goals are as unique as you are. That's why they offer personalized expert guidance to help you navigate the complexities of financial planning. Now, whether you're saving for retirement, getting ready to sell your company, or already in retirement, they can help guide you through every step of your financial journey. They work with clients throughout all stages of life and have clients in over 20 different states. The investment world is complex, so if you are ready to start taking your finances more seriously, now is the time to work with an expert. Reach out to my friends at the Wealth Advantage Group. It's 248-773-8574, or check out their website at www.thewealthadv.com. Honestly, Mike and Jeff are two good guys. They're not going to steer you wrong, and I appreciate them not only being my friends, my financial advisors, but being a part of this. Can I talk about JJ McCarthy a little bit?
I would love to. I'd love to.
Of course you would.
National champion JJ McCarthy. Make
okay,
sure you
national
right.
champion JJ.
Thank you.
I think that JJ McCarthy gets kind of a bum rap around here for some people. I really do. Do you agree with me?
100%. Yeah.
Okay. I understand that there are slappies out there. What do you expect Jim Harbaugh to say, by the way? I don't hold that against him.
He's going to defend his guy. Yeah.
I understand that there are slappies out there that say he should go number one overall. He should be the first quarterback off the board, et cetera, et cetera. Okay. I think they're kind of few and far between. And like everything today, it seems like there's no middle ground. You have people saying he's the number one pick, and you have people legitimately saying he's not very good, which I don't understand that. JJ McCarthy is a first round draft pick. JJ McCarthy is a guy that I have watched for a couple years in a row now. Okay. And consider the source, make plays when he has to make plays. This is a guy, I think his skill set translates very nicely to the NFL. I'm not going to make any broad proclamations. I think he's a first round draft choice with a damn high ceiling. I really do, Blake. And it's almost like some of the slappies out there that are saying, oh, I think he's the best quarterback. It's almost like that's being held against him. I think this is a darn good quarterback that could have a darn good NFL career. And like so many things today, one extreme to the other, there can be a middle ground. And quite frankly, I think the middle ground goes more to the side and thinking of people that think that he's going to be at the top echelon in the NFL draft. I love the kid's skill set. I really do. I mean, the kid gets it done.
He can make every throw. He's athletic enough. There's plenty of teams that will want him. If you're an Atlanta Falcons fan, you cannot tell me you would rather have Desmond Ridder over JJ McCarthy. 100%. There's no way.
Knowing what we know now, in fairness, knowing what we know now, absolutely.
Yeah, like if you're a Patriots fan, would you rather have? I mean, and I know they're drafting top 3. They'll probably get their pick of quarterbacks, but still, if they were to trade back, you're telling me they'd rather have Mac Jones than JJ McCarthy? There's no way.
Absolutely.
He's
100%.
He's a very good player, and I think the best thing that could happen to him, and someone said it in the chat too, Chris did, do the Green Bay thing. Let him sit. Let him learn. Let him develop. and then he's going to blow up.
Could you imagine if a scenario plays out like Ben suggested? Highest JJ will go is to Denver. If the Broncos don't take him, he'll fall possibly out of the first round. Now, I want you to think about that. Could you imagine getting JJ McCarthy with a second round contract on draft day? I'd be crying tears of joy.
The only reason why I think someone would trade back into the first round before that happens.
I think so too, to get the extra year. Absolutely.
Yeah, get the fifth year. Yeah.
But just to Ben's point, let's say he falls to the second round. Are you tears of joy? Are you kidding me?
Oh my God. Yeah. 100%.
My buddy Alan in Trenton. Alan, I hope you're enjoying the hockey out there. I'll talk about that in just a moment, no doubt about it. But no, Blake, it's going to be interesting for a myriad of reasons. What is Michigan going to look like? What is this schedule going to look like? I am a traditionalist with college football to a point. I think both things can be true. And I don't want to put words in your mouth. I think you are the same way as me. I love the traditions of college football. I respect the traditions of college football. College football is also a business that needs to move forward. So a lot of the things that we grew up with and the schedules and all the window dressing, I don't mind those changes. I really don't. Because both things can continue. You can keep the traditions. You can keep a lot of the traditions, not all of them. See Backyard Brawl, for example, or Bedlam, if you will. You can keep a lot of those traditions, but you can move forward with the times and acknowledge the fact. And I appreciate the NCAA is not playing this game anymore. This is just a business now, okay? Yeah. This isn't, we're not going to play the get out my violin. It's all about the student athlete. It's a business now. So both things can be true. Keep those traditions, but move forward with the times.
Yeah. Yep. And it's just it's going to get worse. Like, that's just the honest truth. These super conferences, and I will not be shocked when the Big Ten and SEC just break away. Especially with the news coming out this week that they're like doing that. Yeah. And I think
there's more validity to what you're saying, Blake. There might be people chuckling at what you're saying. I think there's more validity to that than anybody wants to admit. The fact that those two are getting together to talk about the bevy of issues in college football right now screams to me. It really does.
I would be willing to lay down a good-sized wager that there will not be like an NCAA for college football in the next 15 years.
I'm not going to argue that.
If there is, it'll be very, very different.
Yeah.
The Big Ten and SEC will break off, in my opinion, in shorter time than longer.
I think that people have pulled back the curtain and saw the wizard for what he is. And I'm going to go back to a dozen years ago. And why more people weren't screaming about this, it made me pull hair out of our head. For those of us that wanted to see college football move forward, the number one enemy to us, the man who almost single-handedly kept it from happening, was Bill Hancock, the head of the BCS, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, right? We all know that.
Yeah.
You as a college, anybody who's a big college football fan, we all know this. So that man was literally public enemy number one to us. So what happens when they finally decide we are going to move forward, we are going to change with the times? Who is the guy to head up the entire new system? The biggest enemy to all of us, a man by the name of Bill Hancock.
Yep. If
that doesn't tell you what a racket this is, nothing will. It's behind the scenes, glad handing, politicking. You rub my back, I'll rub your back. You put a little something in my pocket, I'll put a little something in your pocket. That was like one of the most unbelievable things to me. Honestly, it's like He was the enemy. He was. Nothing personal against the guy. I don't know anything about him, but I thought he was part of that old school, old money, old generation. this is the way it's been and this is the way it's always going to be. And then all of a sudden, there he is smiling up there, talking about how great it is that we moved to a playoff when for years he said college football didn't need a playoff. Honestly, Blake, it was one of the most hypocritical things I can remember, but that's what you're dealing with the NCAA.
Yes. And I don't think people realize, and I know you do, the power that the bowl games had.
Yep.
Before all of this. And they still have a lot of power. That's why they're still involved. They have a lot of power in college football. The Rose Bowl, I mean, the reason why we didn't go to 12 sooner is because of the Rose Bowl, literally.
Yep. No
because
doubt.
of the power they have.
Todd brought up a great point. It's every other great college quarterback that turned into a huge bust that has people worried. Tebow vibes. You know my feelings on Tim Tebow. I know I've said this to you before, Blake, and Tim Tebow might be the greatest college football player I've seen, and I have no problem saying that. He is a guy, all right, we were just talking about the old school generation, right? Mm-hmm. He is a guy that should have won 2 Heisman trophies. And I was part of that vote. That was my first year. And to hear people talk about non-football reasons as to why they didn't vote for him kind of showed me how screwed up the older generation is, right? I mean, he was unbelievable in college football. He was. I mean, I don't care what you think about Tim Tebow, his beliefs, his feelings. He was unbelievable in college football. He really was. I mean, whether it be 2006, even in 2007 when he was banged up and obviously Michigan knocked them off, and then coming back in 2008 and having the season that he had, he was unbelievable. But I was one of those guys, I didn't think his skill set would translate to the NFL. I didn't think he was an NFL quarterback.
Yeah. By the way, props to me for not making a circumcision joke there, because I really wanted to. But, props to me for not doing it. Just saying.
I'm very proud of you. All right, can I ask everybody? We got a few minutes left. Can I ask have you stopped being a baby now? Seriously, have you stopped being a baby?
By the way, I am so sick of people whining. I know what you're talking about, and I'm sick of it. Get over it.
Can I say hi to my buddy Mario? He said the older generation is still screwing things up. Look at the Baseball Hall of Fame and what Bill Daly and Gary Bettman are doing to the NHL. Amen. The fact that they just cannot admit defeat with Arizona is unbelievable. I mean, that is one of the underreported stories of our time. Honestly, it isn't working. It hasn't worked. I was that guy.
Won't go back to Quebec.
Never. It's such a sad, sad thing. And Atlanta's in the mix again.
Yeah.
What? So listen, I was that guy Sunday night. I was that guy Monday. I sat back. I crossed my arms like a petulant child and said, I'm not watching the Super Bowl this year. Nobody's going to be home anyway, and I'm not watching the Super Bowl this year. I was hurt. I was goo-goo baby. Blake, full disclosure, I can't wait for this Super Bowl. Honestly.
It's going to be fantastic.
And the fact that I'm like literally going to be home alone is actually, it's exhilarating to me. Like I would ask you over, I'd ask Todd over, I'd ask Mike over, everybody come over. But Super Bowl Sunday, it's all about, the significant other. Let's be honest. And most significant others don't want to sit and watch a game. If there were boys that just wanted to watch a game, yeah, come over. I'm going to put on a rack of ribs at about 10 o'clock in the morning. So it's ready for the Habs game, their traditional Super Bowl Sunday matinee. I'm going to put on a bunch of beef short ribs. So 4 hours after that, right around kickoff, after I destroyed the rack of ribs, I'm going to eat the beef short ribs. I'm going to enjoy what should be a damn good game by myself. But the question is, and I know you were never part of this, have you guys gone past that now? Because there are a lot of people that, I'm not watching the Super Bowl this year. My little heart is too upset. Blake, honestly, I know we'll talk about it in greater detail this week. I can't wait for the Super Bowl. I think it's a great matchup.
Yeah, I'm going to say something mean. It's the two best teams. It's the right matchup. San Francisco is San Francisco was the best team in the NFC all season long. Yeah, see, look at his face. It's Patrick Mahomes, who I said from weeks ago, don't bet against Patrick Mahomes. Look who's right. Weird.
He is. I don't want to take credit for this this line. I forget who said it the other day, but whatever. I hate when somebody else tries to take your line and use it as their own. He is one of one. He like. Do we understand what we're watching with Patrick Mahomes?
28 years old.
I don't think I'm overstating that, dude. Like, honestly, I mean, what he's doing right now, and I hate talking about players' legacies before their careers are over. That's such a bad ESPN bit. It's insane. But Patrick Mahomes, very, very shortly, if he hasn't already, is going to enter those types of conversations, man. He really is. What he's done in this span and only being 28 years old is insane.
Yeah, no, he is final. Like, he's the final boss. You have to beat him, and the AFC is going to have to beat him for the next 10 years. I mean, think about it. In the playoffs, there's only two guys that have beaten him. Tom Brady and Joe Burrow. It's
insane. Mediocre Gamer said, nope, I'm still not over it. I bet you it'll change. The lure of that game is just too strong to me. Nick said, can I ask you a question? How did Big Ben not get the love Mahomes?
Can I answer this?
You go, and then I'll give you my take.
Motorcycle accident.
You think so?
Yeah, he wasn't like Mahomes is. Not only is he incredible as a quarterback, he's not a good guy. You know, the whole bathroom thing, all that stuff. Mahomes is just a good dude. Like, that's why he gets all the love. Like, everything.
Can I go on the field? Can I go on the field?
Yeah, of course.
And Nick brought this up. Big Ben has the same Super Bowl stats and won a Super Bowl younger. Do you know what I think the issue is, though? Ben was a passenger with that first team. When they won the Super Bowl in Detroit, knocking off Seattle, Ben was a passenger. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. I'm not detracting from it, but it wasn't like Ben was out doing Ben things. It wasn't like Mahomes, going out doing Mahomes things. Ben was kind of a passenger for that first Super Bowl, if you recall. It wasn't like he was lighting it up and going all over the place. And by the way, I still have never seen definitive proof that he got into the end zone on that touchdown run. But I honestly, I think maybe that's it. Does that make sense?
Yeah. And it's probably a combination of both of what we said. Mahomes is the most, not only is he the best quarterback in the NFL, he's the most marketable.
Sorry, Nick, but I did include he never got in the end zone. Nick's a Seattle fan. I did include he never got in the end zone because he didn't. He didn't get in the end zone. It drives me nuts, out of my mind. My voice is shot, Blake, because I had four broadcasts yesterday. But here is reason number 3,452 to me why hockey is the best sport in the world. There is an all-day tournament still going on today in Trenton, the Trenton Showcase. And yesterday was the first all-day part of it. Like, honestly, Blake, what other sport can you have a situation like you had down in Trenton this weekend, where you have one damn good game on one rink, one damn good game in another rink, another damn good game and another rink after that, and it's all under the same building? Honestly, it is absolutely fantastic. Like I said, my voice is shot. I gargled some salt water beforehand, but I can kind of feeling it fade away right now. Mm-hmm. But honest to God, Blake, it's amazing when you think about that it's just like hockey that tends to do that. You can't do it with football. I get it. You can't do it with baseball. I get it. I'm surprised you don't see more of it in basketball, although maybe having three gyms in the same building might be stretching it, but unbelievable action in Trenton. And another reason why hockey is the best sport in the world.
High school hockey in Michigan just keeps growing too.
Yeah,
it really does, which is awesome. I have buddies that played high school hockey at Lance Cruz. He was still involved in the program until a couple of years ago. He still goes back, enjoys it, loves it. Seeing the programs grow and the the excitement for it is great. I think it's just awesome for all communities.
Yeah, it's a heck of a lot of fun, but I'm going to give my voice a rest. Hey, can I say this now? Can I tell you who we're going to be chatting with this next week on Thursday on What the Puck?
Yeah.
The greatest flow, arguably, in the history of the NHL. Ron Duguay is going to join us.
Nice.
Pretty cool. Ron Duguay is going to join us. And if you're a younger guy and you don't know who Ron Duguay is, look him up and look. I mean, it's funny. The guy was such a good player, but everybody comes back to his flow. I mean, his flow was just remarkable. So we have a lot set up. I'm not going to like blow the wad, so to speak, and tell you who everybody is, but I have a bunch of guys set up the next few weeks, former wings, former players. I have one big surprise that I'm working on. I'm not even going to tell you and Todd about that.
Is Mike going to be there with you?
Mike is going to be there. Yeah.
That's so exciting.
We were actually chatting with Ron yesterday from the rink. He texted us and we were kind of chatting about some things. And
I think Mike and I might need to do like a Super Bowl betting preview.
Why don't you guys do that? Honestly, why don't you?
We might need to do that.
Why? We have a platform. Why don't you do that?
Yeah,
absolutely. We have a platform. Do it. Todd, I can see Todd shaking his head right now, going, "Yes, yes." There's Sean Parker. Hi, Sean. Trenton Showcase. If you have nothing going on this afternoon, go out there. Some great hockey. I wanted to give my friends out there a big shout out. Mario said Brian Engblom still rocks a gorgeous flow. He does. You should see it up close and personal. When I was doing the Carolina game down in Tampa, when I did play-by-play for the Hurricanes, we had a game down in Tampa, and Engblom does work for the Lightning, and watching that magnificence in person was awesome. It was just absolutely awesome. So good times. All right, Blake, any final thoughts for you before we get out of here?
No. I'm just one more football game. Thanks. And shout out our sponsor, Wealth Advantage. We got our first sponsor. It's very exciting.
Right?
I'm excited.
Yeah, I think we got some more, but Mike and Jeff, you know what they say? You always remember your first.
Yes. It's true.
That was kind of creepy. All right, listen, have a great afternoon. Share this, tell your friends about it. Hopefully you're enjoying it. We're just having fun talking some sports. During the week, we'll have a Super Bowl preview, no doubt about that, Blake and I. Maybe Mike and Blake, for you degenerates out there like those two, and I say that with respect. I've said that to Blake 1,000 times. Yeah, why don't you guys do something like that? I mean, you two are the biggest like numbers guys I know.
I think maybe we do something on Saturday. We can do something, you and I and me and Mike. Okay. And then you can just laugh in the background at us.
All right. Hey, listen, until next time, thanks for checking us out. It's Off the Air under the Unsyndicated umbrella. Have a great weekend, everybody.
Off the Air with Sean Baligian, featuring Sean Baligian and Blake Majchrzak. Produced by Todd Losey and Blake Majchrzak. Executive produced by Sean Baligian and Todd Losey. Theme song, incidental music, and related sound effects are from Play It Loud by Jam Studio. Engineering, mixing, and graphic design support provided by the Unsyndicated podcast team. Don't forget to like and subscribe to Off the Air with Sean Baligian on all your favorite channels. While you're there, be sure to rate and review the podcast. Got something to say to Sean? Call the Unsyndicated hotline at 248-237-3257.